I started to suggest, well, maybe there could be a trade for Vermont or California.
The Liberals continue to fall apart. Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today's top story here, we've got another Liberal minister who will not be seeking re-election after the election comes, saying now's the time. Abandoning Justin Trudeau, abandoning the Liberals. Jumping from the sinking ship. We've also got Christy Clark caught lying. We got things heating up here with Mark Carney. We also got a new poll showing the Conservatives rising to historic levels. Let's jump into this. We've got a new poll here and it's reaching historic levels. You can see here, Pierre knocking on the door of 50%. Obliteration down here. 50%. The only time it's been this high for the Conservatives is in 1984 for Brian Mulroney. He won with 50%. We're knocking on that historic level right now. Canadians have finally had enough of the stupid, woke, liberal policies, which have failed miserably. The funniest part is that the party with no leader is still beating the NDP. Jagmeet is finished. He can't capitalize and gain a few seats in this election. Yeah, Jagmeet's done. First off, here to lay out the landscape, as for the Liberal leadership race, Dominic LeBlanc is dropped out. A bunch of people tried to convince him to run, but he will not run as of right now. Melanie Joly has bowed out. She's not running. We have Chandra Arya, the guy who's really hard to understand his English. He is running. We've got Frank Baylis. He is running. We got Jonathan Wilkinson and Francois Philippe Champagne still considering if they're running. It's expected Mark Carney is going to announce his bid to run for leadership. Hence, the $350,000 buy-in is directed towards him, as well as Chrystia Freeland. But someone else who has dropped out is Anita Anand.
And we begin with breaking news out of Ottawa. Federal Transport Minister Anita Anand has announced she will not enter the race to become the next leader of the Federal Liberal Party of Canada. And she's also saying she will not seek re-election as a Liberal MP. In a public statement, Anand said it is the right time for her to step away. She also thanked the Prime Minister for entrusting her with key cabinet portfolios and expressed gratitude for Canadians showing their support. Anand will stay on as Minister of Transport and Internal Trade until the next election.
It's hilarious that she thought she could run and win. She has no support. She has no followers. She has no star power. She brings nothing to the table except for Trudeau's lies and supporting him. Something to note here is she said she's going to go back to teaching. She used to teach at the University of Toronto. Guess who got a lot of money from the federal government? University of Toronto. University of Toronto is being a beneficiary of the CFREF, which supports world-leading research. In 2016, they received a significant portion of $900 million allocated to 13 post-secondary institutions. They also receive money for grants and funding. Also in 2021, the university was named one of the top research universities and was sponsored with research income approximately $1.23 billion. The federal government was the largest source of funding of this grant, so they got the lion's share of that. Did she have something to do with this? Was this setting up a nice cushy job for her going back there?
Anand thanked Trudeau for his service and said his resignation showed her it is the right time for her to do the same. She says she will return to her prior professional life of teaching and policy analysis.
Not only that, her sister, Dr. Sonia Anand, is a physician and researcher at McMaster University. That university also received $35 million in 2021 of federal funding. It received $22 million federal funding to the Sciences and Humanities Research Council and $4 million in 2024, also from the federal government. Are we surprised she's going back to teach? No. Has she been stacking the deck using our money? Next up, we got creepy Count Chocula here. Mark Carney. See the resemblance? Anyone? Is it just me? Says here, American firm employing Mark Carney's wife receives huge contracts from Government of Canada. We're just starting to dig into this guy, but as we see who's actually running for the Liberal leadership race, we'll dig in more. It is suspected, though, that the whole buy-in $350,000 was targeted to Moneybags Mark Carney. If you haven't seen this photo that the Conservatives released here, this is Mark Carney, this is his wife, and this is the, I'm not going to say that word, that guy. She was involved in helping this guy and what happened on an island. And she's currently in jail. So is this who Mark Carney hangs out with? You tell me. He's standing next to her. I don't know. Canadians are coming out strong. Freedom Convoy 2025. This is to protest the prorogation that is going on. Numbers are starting to build here in Ottawa. And one more from Mark Carney here. This one posted by Glenda M. Mark Carney has 3 citizenships, Canadian, British, and Irish, given the big stink the Liberals made over Andrew Scheer's dual citizenship during the 2019 election. If Carney runs for PM, I'm going to assume he's going to give up 2 of them, right? Yeah, that's funny. He's not giving up nothing. We've got this zinger here from this wingnut, Mark Holland, saying that it's not time for an election. They got to go all the way till October.
You know, we elect Parliament for 4 years. Everybody's, let's have an election. Let's have an election. Why? Like every 4 years you get an election. Like democracy is not going anywhere, folks. Like there's going to be an election. But we got stuff we got to get done.
Is this guy brain dead? He's just corrupt, greedy.
And I certainly, if I was a constituent and somebody who cared about healthcare, I'd be talking to my MPs and say, like, really, you're going to cause an election in May or June instead of October because what? You think it's better? You might win more seats, right? That's your calculus, that it's better for your party to have an election now? Like, we have a set election day. Shouldn't we use the set election day?
No, that's not how this works, man. Did you drive a car to this press conference? Are you going to make the planet burn? Oh, wait, that's just Canadians going on road trips. That's right.
Shouldn't we use the time we're given as parliamentarians to get things done? And I can tell you, if I'm given to October, I'll get all the pharmacare deals done. I believe that. Now, Jeremy's sitting next to me. He can disagree, and that'd be totally fair, right? Because I got work to do, and I don't want to put him in an awkward position. But I really believe in this. I don't believe in it because I'm a Liberal. I believe in it because I'm a Canadian, because I think it's the right damn thing to do. And so I think having that time is important. And I'm hopeful that it's there, but I'll make use of any time I'm given.
Canadians don't have the time. They're quite literally freezing into the afterlife on the sides of roads. I will always make room for Holland in my top 10 insufferable Canadian politicians of all time, no matter who else is coming along. That's an impressive level of loathing, even for me. Yeah, he is a real wingnut. And we've also got this one coming from Garnet Genuous here. So it was suspected that Gerald Butts would be helping Mark Carney, and that appears to be the case here. So former top governor Gerald Butts is a part of Carney's campaign team, while others close to Trudeau, including Trudeau's chief of staff, Katie Telford, are making calls on Carney's behalf. Liberal sources told Telford they'd be seeking support for Carney with key supporters. Meanwhile, former cabinet minister Navdeep Bains is also making calls to key Liberals, including a specific push to Sikh MPs and party backers. The connections between Trudeau, Butts, Telford, and Bains go back decades, including all four of them supporting Gerald Kennedy in the 2006 Liberal leadership before switching their support on the last day to the eventual winner, Stéphane Dion. No to WEF, no to Carney. You're right. He's anointed, which explains why CBC went after Christy Clark and why they won't go after him. What are his connections to, this is the woman who's connected to the guy on the island. I'm not going to say his name. As soon as you hear Butts, you know we're headed down the wrong path. Next up, we got this one posted by Justin Trudeau's Ego. It says, climate change is getting so bad that it's now sparking up in this BC Walmart. What is going on here in Surrey? Why is this on fire? Something that's interesting here is in Canada, we're starting to see this rise of these mass deportation signs. This one outside of White Oaks Mall here in London, Ontario. I wouldn't be surprised if they get arrested because that's how things work in Trudeau's Canada. We've also got one more here over an overpass. We've got a clip here of Mark Carney and the WF. As Ryan Gerritsen says here, this is a dangerous man in a normal world. Not a single Canadian would vote for this person. Unfortunately, it's not a normal world, and there's still Liberal Party supporters.
Let me turn to you, Mark.
These offsets can also be catalytic as part of helping the economics of absolutely essential breakthrough technologies that need to happen for us to ultimately get to net zero. And I'm sure that will come up more clearly because Bill Gates has led on those technologies.
Carbon markets, a conversation with Bill Gates, Mark Carney, Annette Nazareth, and Bill Winters. My name is Nicole Schwab. I'm the co-director of the Platform to Accelerate Nature-Based Solutions at the World Economic Forum, and I will be your moderator for this session.
Yeah, we've had enough of the World Economic Forum. They can take a hike. They've penetrated the cabinet one too many times. Christy Clark went on to start promoting herself, and instead she got some tough questions, and she failed to do a little bit of fact-checking on herself. She got caught lying.
Former British Columbia Premier Christy Clark. Now, one of the criticisms of Clark's potential leadership bid from other Liberals is that she joined the Conservatives to vote for Jean Charest in the leadership race won by Pierre. Well, my colleague Catherine Cullen, the host of CBC's podcast The House, asked Clark about this today, and Catherine joins me now. Catherine, what did Christy Clark say when you asked her about this?
Yeah, David, the discussion really took a bit of an interesting turn here. And just to make sure folks are following along with us, Christy Clark has described herself for years as a lifelong federal Liberal. When she was Premier of British Columbia, yes, she was a BC Liberal, but just so everyone understands, the BC Liberals not affiliated with the federal Liberals. They were a bit of a different political beast, a bit more to the right. And in order to vote in the Conservative leadership race, you have to renounce any other membership. Right? You can't be a member of another party. So despite being lifelong, she couldn't have been a federal Liberal if she was voting in this race where she very publicly endorsed Jean Charest. So I had questions about how long this period of her life lasted. Let's listen to our exchange. You have called yourself a lifelong Liberal, but you voted in the last federal Conservative leadership race. That would have required you to cancel your Liberal Party membership in order to join the Conservative Party. How long were you a member of the Conservative Party, Christy Clark?
Never.
But you voted in the race, did you not?
No, I didn't. And I never got a membership. And I never got a ballot. What I did, though,
I will say, Christy Clark, we reached out to the Conservative Party, who told us, in fact, that your membership was canceled.
Oh, well, why don't they come out and show my membership? Or
yeah, they did. I have it right here. Here it is. The Conservatives showed it. You can see here, Miss Christina Joan Clark. She's such a liar. She's caught lying on CBC. This is bad. It's hilarious, though.
For my ballot, they never sent me any of those, although I wouldn't put it past them to manufacture one of them.
Wow. We're going to get to that, come out and show it in a second. But I also, in regards to this interview, David, she went on to say in the interview that she called the Conservative Party numerous times to ask where her ballot was. And I said, well, wouldn't you have to be a member in order to expect a ballot from them? I asked if she canceled her Liberal Party membership. She said no. Her team now says that she was, in fact, not a registered Liberal when she supported Jean Charest.
Oh, to be fair, I don't think she's a part of any of those parties. The only membership she holds is with Satan and his den of thieves. Are we surprised Christy Clark is being caught? No. Look how many scandals she's had. She's highly corrupt. She's a female Justin Trudeau. Not surprised at all.
Okay. So just, all right. I'm a little, if people have been following the Christy Clark political saga may be confused because this does not align with what she has said repeatedly in the past.
So there was media reporting at the time. It's paraphrasing of her where she repeatedly says, I have my ballot. I'm excited to vote for Jean Charest, et cetera, et cetera. There is, of course, also tape of her at the time talking about her support of Jean Charest. So let's listen to a bit of that.
Even with all these examples of Justin Trudeau moving the federal Liberal Party to the left, it has got to be a big step for you to join the Conservatives. Why did you do it?
Because I think that we need a lead. There is only one leader who's running for office right now who is going to be able to unite the country, I think, and who's going to bring a moderation and a willingness to talk to the people with whom he disagrees, and that's Jean Charest. I'm joining the party so that I could support my friend Mr. Charest, and you know what I think he can bring to the national dialogue. I mean, I do think he'd be a devastating opponent for Mr. Trudeau.
Now, in that interview with me, David, she said, well, they should prove it. We reached out to the Conservative Party of Canada, who sent us an image of the proof of her membership purchase from their data management system. It seems to suggest that she was a Conservative Party member for over a year. They also sent a little statement along in which they refer to Clark's kickoff to her leadership campaign, saying it is about misleading not just Liberals, but Canadians.
Are we really surprised here? And what's interesting is CBC is running this as like headline news. It's clear they're trying to pump up Mark Carney. They're not running any scathing report about that image of him standing with that person from the island. No. Clearly, they're still getting those briefcases of cash and still pushing out whatever Trudeau's marching orders are, which is to help Mark Carney.
I mean, I've got a Canadian Press article here from August 11th, 2022. Speaking Wednesday, Clark said she recently received her ballot in the mail and will vote in the contest. Quote, I think Jean Charest would be a fantastic prime minister. So, okay, this is it. All right, so that's the past. There is this future race. I mean, she's going to have to explain this to Liberals, but how does she plan to sell herself to Liberals as a potential leader should she go ahead and make the plunge?
Yeah, and it's interesting. This is actually the first interview she's given since the Prime Minister resigned. Right. She says she's seriously thinking about running. She certainly sounded like she was campaigning. David, a couple of policy points that came out in this. She said she would cancel what she called the Trudeau carbon tax, saying it was different than what they did provincially in British Columbia and that the plan needed to be scrapped. We also, I talked to her about how would she go about driving emissions down. She said a plan was coming in that regard. Other big issue, as you can imagine, that we talked about is Donald Trump, because of course that is going to hang over Canadian politics, the Liberal leadership race. She argues that she is best positioned to take on Donald Trump because she has so much experience in office. She also said it is important that Canada not, in her words, fold like a cheap suit in the face of Donald Trump's threats around tariffs and also becoming a 51st state, which she said, you know, that's clearly not a joke.
Okay, Catherine, that's not what I expected when you said you were interviewing Christy Clark today, but thanks for being us to CBC's.
Thank you.
Clearly, Christy Clark is going for that position. She's not going to back down. She's just as nasty as Justin Trudeau. She's an absolute buffoon. She could have easily handled this situation. She said, yeah, I was just supporting Jean Charest. I briefly joined the party to support him, and then I went back to the Liberal Party. Like, she could have played it off much better, but she's a buffoon. The fact that she's bringing up the carbon tax and saying she'll axe it, she's really trying to get that distance. I don't think she's going to get much support, especially when the CBC is not on her side. And jumping over to this report here, there's an update from Christy Clark after all this happened.
And after that interview, the Conservative Party sent a screenshot that appears to show that Clark was a member of the Conservative Party from June 2022 until June 2023. Clark took to social media last night with this mea culpa, saying, well, I misspoke. Expletive happens. Lesson learned.
She really wrote this on a tweet. This is who's going to be running the Liberal Party. I think she just wants to get this position, even if it's for 3 weeks, just to say she's prime minister, to say she's the first female prime minister of the Liberal Party, just with the bragging rights. I think that's what she wants. She's not going to rebuild this party. None of them are going to do it. This party's toast. All these narcissistic ego megalomaniacs all want to just have this on their resume that they're prime minister. I've always been clear that I supported Jean Charest to stop Pierre. I'm not backing away from that. He's the most divisive politician we've seen in years, and I felt it was my duty as a Canadian to stop him in his track. I'm thinking carefully about running because he still needs to be stopped, but if we want to do that, our party has to accept change. Sticking with the status quo is a losing strategy. She needs to start with not lying to Canadians and not lying on the news.
Time to decide whether to enter the race or not. The deadline for entries is only 12 days away.
Somebody replied with this. Yeah, no kidding. That's Christy, as trustworthy as the next Liberal. We've also got Justin Trudeau going on another American show here inside with Jen Psaki. This is the press secretary for Obama and Biden, I believe. Check out what he has to say here when he's asked about Trump and having spent some time talking with Trump at the Jimmy Carter funeral and the whole tariff situation.
So there's lots of things we can do, and we've already responded to some of the concerns.
Like what, Trudeau, what is going on down here? Does he have to wear these dumb socks? Can he just not wear a nice pair of socks? He's going to a funeral and he's wearing these socks anyways.
That he has, and we're going to continue to doing that because it's in both of our interests to do well together.
I'm assuming he didn't bring up his intention to publicly say he was going to annex through economic means your country.
It actually sort of came up at one point, and then we started musing back and forth about this. And when I started to suggest, well, maybe there could be a trade for Vermont or California for certain parts.
For certain parts? Which part? Alberta? Are you going to say it, Trudeau? Which part do you want to give up? Oh, this is a joke, man. This guy, he's not even looking up the whole time. You notice his eye line here is down the whole time. I call bull crap. I want to hear Trump's side of the story, what was actually said.
He immediately decided that it was not that funny anymore, and we moved on to a different conversation. So
yeah, I don't think that conversation happened.
This isn't out of the blue that he's doing this, but my focus has to be not on something that he's talking about that will not ever happen, but more on something that might well happen, that if he does choose to go forward with tariffs that raise the cost of just about everything for American citizens, that on top of that, we're going to have a robust response to that.
Liar, this never happened. Yeah, I don't think that happened. Notice how he didn't say he offered up for trade. I'll take things that probably never happened for 500. Pure fantasy, this didn't happen. Trudeau's a con artist, pathological liar. LMAO, that never happened. Never happened. Nobody's believing you, Trudeau. Definitely no slow news around here. The question is, how long is Christy Clark going to stay around? Is she going to actually announce her bid for leadership? Is she going to drop out after all that stuff? I don't think so. I think she's going to keep pushing forward, even though the CBC is on her tail. We could probably expect to see Mark Carney announcing within the coming days here his bid for leadership and the CBC pumping him up. The wild card here is Chrystia Freeland. Is she jumping in? It seems most likely she is. She's gathering support. Who will CBC pushing after that? Chrystia Freeland, Mark Carney, both of them? Is anyone else throwing their hat into the ring? Buckle up, folks. This clown show is not over yet.